So you'll be live soon.
Welcome to the meeting of British Unified School District Board of Education. This is an emergency meeting of our board, March 17, 2020. It is now 5:06 p.m. If you would like to address the Board of Education on any item on this agenda or an item that does not appear on the agenda, please complete the green speaker card located near the entrance of the meeting room and hand it to the communications specialist. On the card, please list your item that you would like to speak to. If the item is not on the agenda, please write a public comment. When your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Limit your remarks to 2 minutes. Those speaking on items that are not on the agenda will be recognized by the chair under comments from the public. Please know that the law prohibits members of the board in commenting or engaging in discussion during this part of the agenda, except when seeking clarification on a point made by the speaker. The board may, however, instruct the superintendent to look into the matter or place it on a future agenda. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call. Kush?
Here.
Kelly? Here. Michael?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
And I'm here, Hanlin. Please let the record reflect that Timothy Griggs is not here at the moment. Do I have a motion to review and approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Chin, are you gonna lead us in the flag salute?
That's got wheels. No wheels, my boys. Unless you're just on your knees, but don't stand up. Okay, boys. Pull it up.
Okay, will we do it the flag salute?
Yes.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll be doing it in Spanish. Yo prometo lealtad a la manera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa ante Dios indivisible con libertad y justicia para todos. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Comments from the public. Members of the public may address the board on any subject not on tonight's agenda. However, provisions of the Brown Act, Government Code 54954.2A and .3 preclude any action. As an unagendized item, no response is required from the board or district staff, and no action can be taken. However, the board may instruct the superintendent to agendize the item for a future meeting. If you would like to address the board on any item on the agenda or one that does not appear on the agenda, please complete the pre request of visitors form located near the entrance of the meeting room and hand it to the communications specialist at the beginning of the meeting. On the form, please list your name, organization, telephone number, email, home address, and the agenda item you would like to speak to. For items not on the agenda, you'll be able to speak under the comments of the public portion of the agenda. For items on the agenda, you'll be able to speak at the time of the agenda. When your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, limit your remarks to 2 minutes for individuals and 5 minutes for a group.
Because we don't want people coming to the meeting.
Board President Lian, we've made modifications for people to provide public comment because of the order for people to shelter at home. And in those cases where We do have public meetings if the public attends. We needed to ensure that they don't have coughing or fever and that we have social distancing. So for the record, we have only one public member who is in attendance. And for all others who are viewing us by live stream, I'd like to let the public know that on our website, on the front page, there is a connect for public comment. And it's there on the screen if you're viewing at home, you can see it. And then for our live stream, I'm not sure if you can see it there.
Can you see?
Jen, is it possible to move the video so that people can see the screen? Thank you. So you can see on the front page of our website, we have a box for you to submit a public comment, and we will read those aloud as we receive them for the board.
Great, okay. And Scott will be.
Yes, and Scott will let us know.
Read the book. Great, all right. Board group agreements. The board group agreements are provided for the board's ready reference, and it is on the screen there for us to review. Moving on to number 7. Do I have a motion to review and approve the open session agenda?
Motion to review and approve the open session agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Board member Side, would you please?
Can you hear me?
Now we can. We didn't hear your approval.
Oh, yeah, I approve.
All right, any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Proposed action and discussion item, Superintendent Jordan adopt a resolution on 2020.27 emergency resolution delegating authority to take necessary action to protect students and staff from the spread of coronavirus.
Thank you, President Lian. For tonight's action, it is a request that we designate an emergency, state of emergency for the District of Milpitas and provide certain authority to the superintendent. So if you would permit me to read through the resolution, that will be detailed for everybody.
Yes, please.
So your request is the emergency resolution is for the Milpitas Unified School District.
Right, that's to declare that the Milpitas Unified School District is in a state of emergency and then providing the superintendent with authority in several different areas, which although already enumerated in our board policies, by putting it under this format, it achieves a few things. One is to notify the public of certain actions that the superintendent is permitted to make when there is a situation of emergency, such as school closures, and also providing for those employees who have to be in quarantine to continue to be compensated without having to use sick leave, and as well as affording the superintendent the authority to make expenditures that are within the intent spelled out within the budget and by the board, so that we can carry on actions and activities that deal with addressing the COVID virus, the COVID pandemic that we're in.
Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and read.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Whereas on March 4th, 2020, Governor Gavin Newsom declared a statewide emergency arising from the coronavirus, COVID-19. Whereas on March 10th, 2020, the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors and the Department of Public Health declared the existence of a local and public health emergency arising from the coronavirus, COVID-19. Whereas the Santa Clara County Superintendent of Schools, in collaboration with the superintendents of the districts, has determined that it is advisable for all public schools within the county to prepare for school closures resulting from the coronavirus outbreak. Whereas on March 12th, 2020, Governor Newsom issued an executive order directing Californians to cancel large public gatherings and to enforce social distancing. Whereas the Santa Clara County Department Superintendent of Schools, with the full support of the Santa Clara Department of Public Health, considers it a matter of public interest to develop plans to implement the guidance related to reducing the spread of COVID-19 in our schools to protect our students, families, employees, and our community. Whereas Article 1, Section 28 of the California Constitution declares that all students and staff of public, primary, elementary, junior high, and senior high schools have the inalienable right to attend campuses which are safe, secure, and peaceful. Whereas the Santa Clara County Office of Public Health has reported that multiple persons in Santa Clara County are suspected to have contracted COVID-19, and the extent to which other members of the Santa Clara County community may have contracted COVID-19 is unclear. Whereas Education Code Section 35161 permits the Board of Education to delegate to the superintendent broad authority to carry on activities and programs, including the expenditure of funds for programs and activities that which, in the determination of the Board of Education and the superintendent, are necessary to meet the needs of the district to address the coronavirus pandemic, and which are not inconsistent with the purposes for which the funds were appropriated. Whereas Education Code Section 44964 and 45199 grant compensation to employees without the loss of sick leave in the event of quarantine under the direction of a county health officer, and the authority provided to the superintendent in order to safeguard the financial security of employees against circumstances that are beyond their control. The board's review of the superintendent's decision safeguards Milpitas Unified School District's fiduciary responsibilities. Now, therefore, be it resolved and ordered that the board hereby declares the existence of an ongoing public health emergency within the county arising from the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Be it further resolved and ordered, the superintendent is delegated authority to take all appropriate action to respond to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, including but not limited to any action as enumerated, to ensure and protect the welfare, safety, and educational well-being of all students, to cancel or modify any activities, programs, or courses up to and including the temporary closure of schools and program sites, to protect district property, to make further declarations of emergency, and to take emergency action as permitted by law. Be it further resolved and ordered that should any portion of this resolution be held invalid, the invalidity shall not affect other provisions or applications of the resolution, which can be given effect without the invalid provisions or application, and to this end, the provisions of this resolution are declared to be severable. Be it further resolved and ordered that this resolution is an emergency measure within the mandate and jurisdiction of the board and is necessary for the immediate welfare of the schools and pupils. Therefore, this resolution shall become effective immediately upon its adoption and shall remain in effect until repealed by formal board action. So, Mr. Scott, if you could scroll down a bit. I'm sorry, the other way. Up one more. There we go. Thank you. So, again, as I indicated at the beginning, our board policies do already allow for the superintendent to close schools in cases of emergency, and they do already put the encumbrance of the superintendent to ensure safety and secure areas for learning at all of our schools and to protect district property. And there are already provisions for a leave of absences as per the Ed Code. And the importance of issuing the state of emergency is twofold. One, again, as I said at the beginning, to make it clear to everyone what the gravity of this situation is, and also to provide assurances to our employees who are concerned about compensation, that they will be compensated, and also to make assurances that for those expenditures that we have to make due to COVID, that we will be able to one, move monies around if necessary, and two, that we will have the documentation at the end of this that we will submit to the state for any funds for which we may be eligible for reimbursement due to COVID-19 expenditures.
Thank you, Superintendent. Any comments for Superintendent? If not, we can take a vote now.
Sorry, so you had stated that this state of emergency from Milpitas Unified School District authorizes the closure authorizes the closure of schools.
Authorizes the superintendent to close schools, yes.
And currently, I know that there's a lot of language out there in terms of, are schools closed? Aren't schools closed? What is Milpitas Unified School District doing? Can you speak to that point briefly?
Yes. So currently, schools are closed to students, and given the recent order to shelter in place by the county Office of Public Health Department, the operations of the school district have been greatly reduced to just those people who perform functions that are essential to the operation of the district. And additionally, it provides for us to ensure that if expenditures are needed to mitigate COVID-19 or to take action that helps us to move ahead of COVID-19 in our mission to ensure that students and learners have opportunities for learning, even though they are at home, that their learning continues. And so the language around closures is, in effect, it's closures to students, because there are many of our team members who are still performing functions that enable us to provide continuity of learning for our students. And the term that's being used countywide is flexible learning. And in Milpitas, we are calling our program Milpitas Unified School District Educate Everywhere. And I think the reason why the term closed is regarded somewhat tentatively is because we don't want to give people the impression that school is closed and therefore students are not learning. So I think that's why we are being very deliberate with how we use the term closure. So it's closed to students, however, it's not closed to our function, which is to continue to educate students, and that is what we're doing. And I proudly say we're doing it very well considering the circumstances, because of the preparation that the team members, everyone here included, has taken since becoming aware of the need to begin quarantining because of exposure to the virus.
So just to repeat, the actual locations are unavailable to students. We do have minimal staff at the school sites working. We have teachers that are telecommuting, and also those on the classified side, administrators also telecommuting. And the way that students are going about their education at this point is under the umbrella of flexible learning.
Yes, Educate Everywhere, MUSD.
Thank you.
And also to add to it, today, I told the management team that school leaders that they are performing functions that are essential to the operations. And I told them for this week, I wanted them at their school sites in the mornings in case we have people who come to the school looking for questions, who have questions and looking for answers. But beginning next week, I want them available on call, and I will continue to stay in touch with them through Google Meet and other virtual meets. And then here at the district office, we will remain with staff at a much reduced number. We have different departments who have staff members rotating in to do work, as well as staff members who are at home telecommuting. And we have some personnel, such as our custodian at the district office who is here every day. At each school site, the custodians are doing a deep disinfecting, and then once that's completed, they will be on call. Our grounds and HVAC and those and bus drivers, they are all on call currently because of the shelter-in-place order. And our tech services department is all present because currently they have a tremendous undertaking, which I have to say, Chen Song is our director of tech services and who is currently manning our live streaming. I have to say that he and his team, you could see the tangible result of their planning today between 1 and 3 when we had, how many people did we have come through?
Almost 400.
400 people coming through to pick up Chromebooks, and that included both employees as well as students. And I was out there for a little bit talking to the parents as they were sitting in their cars or lined up, and every single one was greatly appreciative, and they expressed a sense of connection, and they felt that MUSD was making tremendous effort in trying to make this the best opportunity for student learning as we could. And Norma and Wendy and Jonathan and Scott, I really appreciate the work that each of you has done with your teams to make that happen, because it's something that could only be what it is because everybody is working together. And I do also want the board to know that yesterday for about 4.5 hours, we had our superintendent's roundtable, which includes executive cabinet and our director of HR, and also Chen Song, our director of technology, as well as the association's leaders, together as we ironed through some of the details about what telecommuting means, about what functions are essential, and about how the distance learning will be working, and down to pieces as far as how often teachers are checking in with students, and flexibility and making sure all of our learners get what they need. And that the synergy in the room was remarkable, and I am very, I would say I am very appreciative and in awe of the work that I know these people already do, but the way that they came together yesterday with a sense of camaraderie and commitment was astounding. So I share that with you because as board, I want you to be proud of the work that our staff does. And since you weren't there and you couldn't have been there, I just want you to know that every person is working as hard as they can. And when I say every person, I mean custodians, paraprofessionals, student nutrition. We served over 2,600 meals yesterday to students, and probably about the same, if not more, today. Everybody is just coming together, and it's tremendous. When I tell you that I want our school district to be the best in the nation, this is it. This is an example of what a school district that's the best in the nation can do and is doing. And we will continue to make it better every day.
Thank you, Superintendent. Yes, we are very, very proud of each and every one of you. This is where we see our big family coming together, sticking together to go through this, all the effort, and especially Chin Song's two sons. I saw the picture cleaning the Chromebooks before we gave it away to the parents. So thank you. Thank you, Chin Song, for giving us your two sons. And thank you, Coach, for coming to the meeting today.
Michael wants to say something.
Did you want to say something, Michael?
Yeah.
So you have two screens on. So Michael, you have to turn off, you're getting feedback. So do you have more than one screen showing, or do you have more than one device logged in? Because that's what's causing the feedback and the echo. Is that there's something on your end? It's causing that reverberation.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, your comment, Michael?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyways, for some reason I can't hear you now, but I did want to say I'm super appreciative of all the hard work that folks have been doing. I know this is a time of crisis, and the leap to doing distance and online education is a challenge for a lot of districts right now, and we're really counting on our team to keep us afloat and make sure all our learners are being engaged. And through this crisis, we also see that no matter what the situation, we can learn. I think of how before grandparents would tell their children about how when they were going to school, they had to trudge through 20 miles in the snow to get to the schoolhouse, but they learned anyways. I think for our generation of kids, someday they can tell their grandchildren about the situation in 2020 where school went online and everyone hunkered down in their homes while the pandemic was going on and learned anyways. You know, this is history in the making right now, and we're also proud to be a part of it.
Thank you, Michael. We do have a public comment. And Scott, you will read it out?
Okay, can you hear me, guys? All right, so this is from Yoli Garcia of 8864 Founders Lane. And her comment is, would like to announce Milpitas Senior Check. In Milpitas, we have joined together to make sure we can beat COVID-19. This website also allows seniors to ask our volunteers to take care of small tasks, such as buying a small amount of groceries, picking up over-the-counter medicines, or even providing a telephone call check-in. Milpitas seniors can go to www.milpitasseniorcheck.weebly.com. There is also a volunteer form at the same website. Any questions, please contact us at milpitasseniorcheck@gmail.com. On a separate note, thank you to MUSD for an awesome job you are doing for our kids during this weird time. Thank you, Yoli Garcia.
Thank you, Yoli. Thank you, Scott.
Cheryl, did you say that the teachers are going to be on campus just the morning parts all this week, or?
No, the teachers are at home telecommuting. The school leaders, that'll be the principals and assistant principals, are here in the morning at the school sites in case there are any people who come looking for technology or don't know how to access the online or looking for lunch. So that way we can make sure by the end of the week that people are informed.
Okay, thank you. No, I heard that a parent showed up to campus on Monday morning and didn't know what was going on. Yeah, so there are some people out there that are not aware of our situation.
And that's why we have them there this week.
I received thank you for that. There was a question about, as far as we move into this situation, what are some of the models or direction that the teachers are taking to support their students during this time?
Sure. So our principals have been instructed to check in with the teachers regularly. The teachers are going to be checking in with the students on a weekly basis. The teachers are to monitor the work that the students are doing and checking via video chat, Google Hangouts. The mode of checking in is it's based on where they're at, yes. But everyone was in agreement. That was the beauty of what Superintendent Jordan was referring to yesterday when the leadership team came together with all of our associations and discussing what is the best way during this situation to ensure that the learning continues, but also to check in with our students and to check in with our parents. And so they will be doing that on a weekly basis. We are going to be using ARIES codes, special codes. ARIES is our student information system in which the teachers are going to keep a log of their check-ins with the students to see how they're doing, both academically and socially, emotionally. And we're going to be entering whether the students are engaged or not engaged, meaning the students, we need to know if the students are also sick. So that's why they're not engaged. So it's a wraparound, all around. Principals connecting with the teachers, teachers connecting with their families, and also our teachers who are special ed teachers are going to be working alongside with the general ed teachers in terms of the cases that they share.
Yes, thank you. And it's my understanding that there are different modes that's going on. There are some teachers that are using the rote method with packets. There are some teachers that are doing online. There are some teachers that are using Google Classroom. There are some teachers that have an online platform which they're using. And then there are some teachers that are using a combination of, and they're continuing to discover new ways of how they're going to go about their process. I did see one comment from a teacher that her group of students created a Google group or Google Hangout, and they added her to the group because they were planning on different ways of getting together. So there's a lot of activity going on about how this is going to move forward. I also noticed a comment saying that our teachers are really thinking about the fact that our students are used to a routine, that they have an expectation of how their days go, and they're looking for some guidance. And our teachers are really trying to be mindful of how they can assist the parents and the families in doing that type of work. So again, kudos to your team, kudos to the executive cabinet and all those that have been involved in this extremely complicated and complex process.
Thank you, Vice President Norwood. One thing that I would like to add is there's a lot of creativity out there. Teachers are reaching out to each other across grade levels, across schools, and they are coming together to share best practices. A lot of teachers who are coming together to collaborate as well. They are used to collaborating in person, and now they're finding ways to collaborate virtually. And with one focus, ensure that our students continue to learn. Make sure that they're there connecting with our students in terms of the social and emotional as well. So beautiful thing is happening.
And it's preschool through adult learners. And I see one of our strong ambassadors, especially for our special education students. And that is also that I want to let the board know that we are working to determine how we can best provide learning for our students who have special needs. And just one anecdote, yesterday I was at the stoplight right by the embassy and where Mykonos is, and I heard somebody yelling at me, and I turned to my right, and it was one of our teachers, Mr. Sorensen, who has our community, our post-secondary students. I rolled down my window and he said, "I'm delivering my last group of instructions to my student." And he had finished going around house by house to all of his students, and this was just before shelter in place. And he was going around to make sure that every one of his students had what he or she needed. So our teachers are really trying to figure out how to meet the needs of our kids speaking about routines, who really need to have that connection for school and their parents need that support. So we're trying to figure it out, and we're also getting assistance from the county superintendent of public education too. And she shared with me today that by Friday we should have some additional information on how we can make sure we're serving the needs of our students.
Yeah, thank you, teachers. I'm sure you can hear me. On behalf of the board, I want to say thank you to the hard work and the dedication and everything that you're trying to do for our students here in the district. I do have Ms. Kavita Sriha.
Hi, thank you so much. I wasn't sure if there was an online forum to present my question to you, but thank you for all the wonderful service that every one of you is providing. The only reason I'm here today is to specifically represent a group of parents in the CBI program at Navitas High School. Our concern is that many of our students, our children, are not used to an online virtual learning program. And given that Governor Newsom keeps talking about how for students with disabilities, there will be some exceptions made, and there will be to make sure that they also are receiving the right amount of information and education. While I was driving up here, I heard Governor Newsom also say that school is not going to be out just for a week or a couple of weeks. You can't extend it. You can't expect it to be extended beyond a point, which is a huge concern for us as parents, because especially special needs children, they tend to regress in certain areas of speech, behavior therapy, occupational therapy, which is part of their IEP. So I wanted to find out if and impress upon the board to see that what you can do in terms of trying to put together a comprehensive plan for our children. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Radar.
Superintendent, would you please also announce the meals that's provided? I know that it's cut down to 3 locations, so it's not at all 13 locations. Is that true that it is in this boardroom? I'll let you do the talking.
So in an effort to meet the shelter in place order, we have reduced the sites to Milpitas High School, the boardroom, and also Spangler, and we determined that those would be the 3 sites. We continued serving in all sites today. And the reason was that we wanted to see with 2 days worth of data, what the 3 best hubs would be. And so that's how we came upon Milpitas High School, Boardroom, and Spangler. And again, it is available to all students 18 years and younger.
I'd just like to add that the times also changed. We're going to start serving from 9 to 12.
Oh, and also there's some, at Burnett, they allow you to collect a whole week's breakfast and lunch. So is that something that is open?
That is definitely something that we will be discussing. I know that there's more information at the county level that's being discussed. And once that's ironed out, I will share that with the board. And one piece is that we look at possibly allowing parents to come for multiple days of meals. But that's something I haven't yet discussed with Wendy and her team.
Can I elaborate on that?
Sure, Michael.
Yes. On the topic of meal distribution, I understand the previous rule was that it was like the meal per student and the student had to be there in person.
That's
Is that
correct.
correct?
Yep. Because that has to do with nutritional guidelines and federal guidelines around the summer meal plan.
Okay, I feel like under these situations, we should look at relaxing that rule, because if we can have maybe less people moving more meals, it means less people in transit on the roads, which is going to be advantageous in this situation. I know in China, one procedure they did was they had a designated person per household to do food pickup and delivery, so you minimize the number of people going out. So if there's a way to relax the rules, and maybe if there's like one parent who's picking up for even a block of students to minimize transit, that would be advantageous.
So as we move forward, and I believe that's one of the reasons why we're here, thank you for that idea. One of the reasons why we're here, as far as approving the state of emergency for the district, is that the superintendent will have the autonomy to work with their staff to make adjustments in certain areas that may have needed to come before the board in the past. But this will allow a more fluid approach to some of the things that are going on, because as we realize things are rapidly changing, we've had in 5 days 2 board meetings, which is unprecedented. So I believe that what you're talking about, Michael, will be shared. What you've heard, the superintendent has heard those things. They will share with the cabinet, and then they will determine what they can do in terms of what the county will allow and what the practices are. So thank you for that input.
All right. I think we got carried on with all these comments and forgot that we have not make a motion to approve the resolution. So is there a motion on the floor for approving the resolution?
Motion to approve the state of emergency resolution for the Milpitas Unified School District.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Jordan. Is there any other comments from the left? Seeing none, any on the right? Call this meeting to adjourn.